Hey guys, here we are with a blade that is not the Nasset that I've been using for so long. We've got the Nasset to 366 shaves, and so let's give it a break, enjoy some other blades. This is a young, relatively, Gillette Platinum at 5 uses. We're going to put him into this fat boy that's had a rhodium plating job done on it with the black rhodium on the doors and handle and regular rhodium everywhere else. It's a really nice razor that I enjoy quite a bit. And so the platinum goes in there. What setting shall we use today? I'm going to turn it down to a 3 for a nice smooth shave that still gets me a good close one too. I'm going to be using this Frank Shaving Silvertip that you have seen me use recently, and it is a good budget silver tip. In the beginning, it hasn't been as soft as the golden nib or whip dog silver tips that I have, but I'm going to give it some more uses. It's still pretty young, I think 10 uses or something like that. So let's there are a few silver tips that where the tips will soften up over time. I think Simpsons are renowned for needing kind of a break-in period, but I don't use Simpsons. All right. The soap today is Firefighter from Noble Otter. It's a new one that they came out with as a benefit for the fire personnel out there on the west coast of the United States, battling the forest fire situation there. And very cool. You know, you see Firefighter, you see fire on the label, and you think it's going to be a smoky scent just habitually, but then, I mean, just kind of innately. And then you realize, wait a minute, that would kind of be insensitive, right? If it smelled like burning stuff, then that's what these firefighters are working hard to prevent. And so it's an aquatic scent. It does have some woody notes, and I think it's a great blend. We're going to try to use that base once again. I've used it once before. I don't like it quite as much as some of the other soaps that are more soapy soaps because it does have the oils and butters or some types of things that are being moisturizers, and they kind of get in the way of shaving, at least for me. They slow down the razor just a little bit sometimes. But we're going to give it another shot for sure. This is their V3 base, I think. Is that right? Did he have to change his base because? Did you make a note here? No, I think maybe that's another soap. Anyway, let me get my face wet. We are using cold water today. And we are using my usual 3D printed lather bowl. Instructions are in the description if you want to download the files for that to print your own. Sugar Daddy Shaves also has some recommended online printers if you don't have an online a 3D printer yourself. I've got some people who have reported back to me in the YouTube comments here that have let me know some good printers that they were happy with, and so I'll put those on my website. Let us load up the soap. The brush has been soaking for a few minutes. Holds quite a bit of water. It's not one of these super high density brushes that are going around these days, and so it holds a lot of water. Lots of gap between the bristles, that sort of thing. Matter of fact, I may have gone crazy and shaken too much water out. Let's just see what happens. Let's do a little bit longer of a load because of this formulation. Let's do 30 seconds. And you know what I'm going to do? We'll just do 10 seconds now, and then we'll keep on going if, yeah, okay, well, there's more water in there, and I just didn't see it. We started at the 2-second mark, so we'll go to 32. You know, I can see by the lather that's coming up that I have enough moisture in the brush to do the job. Medium pressure. And there we go. And then this is what we have on the brush. A lot of times I do have more water than that in the brush, and so the lather doesn't quite look like this when after you're done. And the brush looks a little bit more watery and soupy. You can see it's hard for me to reach this area right here because I had a injury years ago. My arm doesn't quite bend the right way anymore. Well, it doesn't bend as close as the angle of the bend doesn't come in as much as it used to. I'm going to clean off the threads here of the tub. And let's get started on working up the lather. Now, since this does kind of look a little pasty right away, that's just fine, but it means I often will add some water to it quicker than I might normally. I usually work it in the bowl for a little bit. Two teaspoons. You can sometimes feel some drag with the brush as you're moving it around in the lather, and that can tell you something about the lather. Sometimes it means that it's just a really dense brush. Sometimes it means you need to add more water, and that can help things. I've had a few brushes that really seem like suction cups as I've moved them around in the bowl. It's like they've vacuumed themselves to the bottom of the bowl. I haven't quite figured out that phenomenon yet. There we go. After 3 teaspoons of water, we are looking kind of like a normal lather here. So now that's 4. Push it down from the sides. Hey, pretty nice. So, this lather is taking some water. That's 5 teaspoons now. As you can see, it's still going. Definitely not too wet. Actually, you know what? It might be too wet because this is one of those kind of higher moisture, moisturizing type lathers, and so it is a little easier to push too much water into them, for me at least, since I like my lathers to be quite wet, and so a lot of times I have to run them a little drier than I might normally think to. So you know what, let us maybe stop right here. Let's take a look at it. Pretty thin wall there. We don't have an abundance of lather, but that is falling down. All right. I think we'll go with that and see how it behaves. I'm going to get my face a little wet. It's been cold lately, and so the tap water is cold. I'm even using the hot because eventually it'll get hot, and I'll have warm water or lukewarm. But for now, even just pulling what's in the hot tap is very cold. So it's going to be there to soothe any irritation if need be. This is not a strong scent. I think I've discovered that's kind of a pattern with Noble Otter. I'm sure they don't want to offend people's noses or people with sensitive skin. There are a few that are more pungent than others. Yeah, I definitely don't. Look at all this lather flinging off. I'm glad I didn't add any more water. Of course, I could slow down my scrub a little bit here. But otherwise, it feels really good. And I think it almost seems like the tips are on this brush starting to soften up a little bit. So it looks like I'm happy with the lather. So I'm just going to spend another minute or so working it into my face. Got plenty of it. Got a couple of passes of lather on my brush right now. Matter of fact, sometimes it's helpful. You can be less messy just to, scrape some of it off into the bowl. Less excess to deal with. Oh, wow. It's the first time that's ever happened. The handle got just so slippery that now I'm a decorated shaver. Excess of lather. There's so much moisturization going on with this soap that the rinses are probably not going to be ones where I get rid of all the soap and slick feeling, Probably mainly looking at getting rid of most of the foam. All right, here we go. Gillette Platinum in a venerable, highly reputable. Oh, now that's so smooth. I haven't had a smooth shave like that in a month. Man, this is a match made in heaven. It's just breezing through the hair effortlessly. Man. And that is a sacrifice that I make when I am pushing that Nasset blade far. Every time I use it, I'm not having a shave like this, where it's just so nice. But I'm just so curious, how many shaves am I going to get from a blade? And I don't even think I need to use this to try to get a better shave right here, because I think this blade is going to do a very good job without really any touch-ups. All right, so quick rinse. Now, I said that this base kind of slowed me down earlier, but I didn't want to have that be a first impression that was anything more than a first impression, and so I definitely wanted to use it again, and I've not experienced that in this case. So I've gotten it wet enough to where I didn't feel any slowdown, I didn't feel any drag, just a nice shave. Really happy with it. It probably still has a little bit more in the moisturizing department than I might like, but that's not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, nice glide. Love the 3 settings. Nice residual slickness here. Yeah, that's really good. And rinse. Yeah, this soap is definitely adding a kind of layer of slickness to my face that I think would take too long to rinse off, so I'm definitely leaving it between each pass. And a 30-second load usually produces a lot more lather left over after 3 passes, and so this the load time was a little different with this guy. And also I think this soap, a lot of times they're more a low structure type soap is going to provide, or low structure lather is sometimes not going to be as economical. You're going to need to use up more soap to get as many passes of lather as you might need. All right, 3rd pass now. Someone was talking recently about how temperature might be a big factor in helping your blades to go longer. If you use hot water to rinse your blades, what if that's causing some expanding and contracting? And that could cause your blade to wear more. And there we go. That last pass was just effortless. Barely even heard any hairs being cut. And I went cross grain in the other direction right here. Everything feels great. And yeah, right now as the water evaporates, it's leaving behind kind of a oily, buttery, very moisturized feeling. For you guys who suffer with dry skin, this looks like a good base for you. It didn't take as much time, as long to rinse off that kind of highly moisturized feel, and not nearly as much as I thought it would, so that's good. So let's try to use up the rest of my Sharpgrass Man balm over the next several shaves perhaps. Don't really feel like I need it, especially with this type of soap, but it's a nice scent that my family likes. Don't feel any irritation, anything like that. In terms of the shave, very comfortable, very smooth, easy, excellent cutting combination here with the 3 setting on the Fat Boy and the Gillette Platinum blade. All right, yes. So, was that 5 teaspoons of water? I think it was 5 teaspoons of water, 30 seconds loading with this soap, and at least with this brush, it's seemed to be about exactly the right amount. Got enough here for another pass, maybe 2 passes if I really squeezed it. So that's pretty perfect, just right, and very wet. I'm glad that such a high moisturizing type lather can be taken this far and still be very slick. I didn't experience any drag at all. You just have to get it really wet. It's a very light scent. If I ever get rid of this soap, it'll be because of that. It's very light. Good performance. Glad I got it. Glad to support the cause, but the scent is a little on the weak side. There we go, but at least it's not going to interfere with any post-shave product that you're going to want to bring to the table. That's for sure. So what I do with these types of twist to open razors is you can leave the blade in there, no problem. I would definitely loosen it up a little bit and then let some water run through it to clean out the suds. And then if you want to leave everything together, then leave it open a little bit, not quite as clamped down, back it off a little bit, and then just make sure it always is in a well ventilated area. And the reason this platinum has such large marks, you may, if you're a regular watcher, many of my blade wrappers have just dots, and that's so I can fit a lot of them on there. Well, that's because this is not one of my marathon blades. This is not my marathon Gillette Platinum. I like to keep them young in terms of maybe 10 or less uses when I'm evaluating them in different razors, because if I have a new razor that comes into my den, I don't want to it's not a reliable evaluation if I put a 70 use blade in it, because that's not helpful for you guys. Most of you guys don't take your blades that far, so it's not as relevant. And so I do keep kind of lower usage versions of my favorite blades in a rotation, and then once this hits 10, I'll throw it away and bring out a new one for such testing and that kind of thing. So 6 shaves on a Gillette Platinum, and it is dreamy. Earlier in the shave, I noticed that I wasn't recording when I thought I was. I sure hope I haven't done some mistake where I've always recorded the breaks with this one. Maybe I noticed it right away. See, I'm wearing a red shirt, and the only way I know that it's recording is the small number is moving on my camera. It's right here at the bottom, and it's a red dot. And so I think maybe wearing a red shirt is not a good idea, because it makes it harder to see that red dot. But I apologize if there's been a little bit of a technical glitch on this one. Well, that's all for today's shave. There we go. I hope there's been something good here for you. The Firefighter is a wonderful benefit, wonderful cause. The Red Cross is one of the organizations that receives some benefit from the sale of this soap, and I believe there's some type of firefighters charity that gets some as well. So it's really cool. The soap, I'm really happy that I found a wetness point at this soap where it just performs really well for me. Just smooth, moving fast, and high protection. I just didn't feel a problem at all. Just wonderful skin protection there. Continue to love that Fat Boy. It's really funny. I went recently down to see family, and so I packed 3 different razors, and it was for maybe 5 days, so I packed 3 different razors and maybe 4 soaps, and 3 or 4 brushes, and I always pack overkill in terms of my shaving gear, because I never know when something might happen. I might have to stay longer at locations when I'm running around. I'm glad I did that this time, because sure enough, we came back, but I'm here at this location for maybe 5 days, 6 days longer than I thought I would be. And so it has been very nice to have more equipment than I might normally have planned. So there we go. I'm here. I'm having to do a load of wash and recycle some of my clothing and make sure I keep up with that. All right, guys. Well, we do travel more sometimes in the holidays, and I hope you guys keep safe in terms of your own travel. Watch out for other drivers out there on the road with their crazy holiday stuff. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You take care.